Greg Hens.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and let me begin by congratulating the Right Honourable Gentleman on securing this important debate today, and I welcome his support for UK government. He said he came into the chamber and unusually wanted to support the UK government, and I am very, very grateful for that, and I very much welcome that change of tack. Marine energy, Madam Deputy Speaker, and of course tidal stream energy in particular, is of great interest to the government. Our theme today is the merits of ring-fenced funding for the deployment of tidal stream generation. And I shall say, first of all, that I agree entirely with the Right Honourable Gentleman that tidal stream is a homegrown industry of considerable potential. We have Europe's foremost, probably the world's foremost, tidal and wave energy testing centre, the European Marine Energy Centre on Orkney. We have other exciting testing centres and marine energy hubs burnishing their reputation on Anglesey, the Morlays project, and on the Isle of Wight, which cropped up 2 weeks ago in Bay's questions from my honourable friend, the member for the Isle of Wight, the Perpetuous Tidal Energy Centre. We have a raft of brilliant developers designing and building tidal stream devices in the UK, notably in Edinburgh, in Leith. He said that UK government funding of 20 million, I think he said only now, Madam Deputy Speaker, but the picture is so positive in large because we have, under actually successive governments, provided more than 175 million, not just the 20 million announced yesterday by the Prime Minister, but 175 million in innovation funding to the marine energy industry in the last 18 years, of which more than 80 million has come since 2010. So when he said 20, 30 years ago, this is exactly what we have been doing. And thanks to the very extensive support afforded under the Renewables Obligation Mechanism, we were able to build in 2018 the largest tidal stream generating array in the world in the fast-moving waters of the Pentland Firth. I think it is fair to say that the government has a sound track record of supporting the tidal stream industry and helping to get it into the position it is in today, on the cusp of commercialisation and with good export potential. This week, however, is an occasion for looking to the future, and we were all delighted to see announced yesterday by the Prime Minister, at Prime Minister's questions, that the government will establish a ring-fenced budget of £20 million for tidal stream developments in Pot 2 of the upcoming fourth Contracts for Difference allocation round. The Contracts for Difference scheme is our flagship mechanism for supporting the cost-effective delivery of renewable energy, and our decision this week will ensure that the nation's tidal stream innovators get the opportunity they need to bring their cost of energy down, to ramp up the UK's capture of the abundant energy flowing along our coastlines, and to learn the valuable and exportable lessons that come with being the first in the world to deploy a cutting-edge technology at scale. It's been a decision warmly welcomed. I'll give way.
I'm very grateful, Tim. The Marine Energy Council has said very clearly that it is grateful to ministers for having listened, understood and acted, and so am I. And the opportunity now is for the sector to make a success of delivering on the funding that my right honourable friend has announced, and then ramping up domestic capacity. And while I will at the same time continue discussions with Indonesia as the Prime Minister's trade envoy there to pursue potential opportunities there. So does my right honourable friend agree, and would he accept an invitation to come and meet members of the sector and interested colleagues at the next Marine Energy All-Party Group meeting before the House rises?
I thank him for that intervention. I would gladly accept his invitation to meet. He does a brilliant job as the chair of the APPG for Marine Energy. He also does an amazing job, Madam Deputy Speaker, as the Prime Minister's trade envoy to Indonesia as well. He mentioned one or two of the warm words of congratulation yesterday on the announcement. He said Renewable UK, as he put it, a major step forward. It puts us in pole position to lead the global market in due course. They said it will unlock private investment and secure green jobs. The European Marine Energy Centre on Orkney, Neil Kermode, said this support for the marine energy industry is absolutely pivotal. Madam Deputy Speaker, we had the honourable gentleman, and I appreciate his bringing this topic today. One might have perhaps been left with the impression it might have been just his representations to the Prime Minister. But I checked back, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I found representations from my right honourable friends, the member for Portsmouth North, Preseli, Pembrokeshire, my honourable friends, the members for Meon Valley, Rother Valley, Rugby, Banff and Buffon, the Isle of Wight, West Aberdeenshire and Kirkcaldy, Murray, Innismon, Truro and Falmouth, Gloucester, my honourable friend, the chair of the APPG, Sedgefield, Blythe Valley, Workington, North Cornwall, St Austell and North Quay, North Devon and Barrow in Furness. Now, I've heard from the right honourable gentleman some doubt as to whether the £20 million per annum is a substantial enough sum to put the tidal stream sector on its best footing. Indeed, the right honourable gentleman suggested that £71 million is the minimum required for the job. And I'm afraid I cannot agree with him on this point. £71 million would mean awarding a contract to virtually every developer who shows interest in the auction, as long as they bid at a level just a single penny under our stated maximum price. Now, he and I worked together at the City of London in our time, and he will know from his knowledge of financial markets. I know he's since rebranded himself as a simple crofter, but his time in financial markets, that he will know that there's no way to run an auction of that sort, Madam Deputy Speaker, in that way. Of course I'll give way.
Well, thank you. And I hope we could dispense with the silly jibes, quite frankly. But look, what I explained to the Minister was that £71 million would justify 100 megawatts of output. And perhaps the Minister could explain what he expects to see from the 20 million. Crucially, I did point out that Maygen, which has consent for 80 megawatts, within the envelope of that 71 million, that could have been fully exploited, and it could ramp up ultimately to 400 megawatts. As things stand, Maygen 2 cannot be fully exploited, and that is the impact of not going to the £71 million.
Well, Madam Deputy Speaker, I think he's mixing up sort of funding with the process of an auction. It is a contract for difference auction. And if there were to be, the idea, the 20 million available, is it allows you to have a competitive process between all of the different parties that may be interested, and then to make sure that at least 20 million goes towards these projects. It's not the same as granting funding, which I think he's looking for, of 71 million. It's a competitive auction process. The purpose of the CFD scheme is to support and push forward. I'm going to try and fit in a response to the right honourable gentleman. Is to support and push forward only the most promising and competitive projects in the offing. My department's analysis shows that £20 million is optimal for this purpose, and that a larger ring-fence budget would serve neither the interests of the electricity bill payer nor the interests of the sector itself, which must be pushed, Madam Deputy Speaker, to innovate and find ways of bringing down its costs. So yes, the government has this week delivered for the burgeoning tidal stream industry, and it is for the developers now to really push on and make good on their promises and their potential to demonstrate the value for money and the scalability that we need to see from our renewable energy technologies as we transition to an efficient and net zero ready power sector. Madam Deputy Speaker, we all remember the remarkable fall in the cost of offshore wind energy, which the right honourable gentleman referred to in his speech, once it was able to take full advantage of the contract for difference scheme. We have this week given the tidal stream sector the chance to push on and try to do the same. It will all be to our benefit and to the benefit of our planet and environment if the sector succeeds in this endeavour.